Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 2026 0331. Today, we're diving into some pivotal developments from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. We begin with a major legal and supply chain story that could ripple across the entire AI hardware ecosystem. The U.S. International Trade Commission has formally opened an investigation into SK Hynix and Kioxia following a complaint from Monolith IC 3D. The complaint alleges infringement of 8 U.S. patents covering 3D stacked memory architectures, including high bandwidth memory, or HBM, and 3D NAND. This investigation falls under Section 337, which means the USITC has the authority to impose import bans if violations are found. That is not a trivial threat. SK Hynix is a critical supplier of HBM used in AI accelerators, and Kioxia is a major player in 3D NAND flash. Any disruption in U.S. imports could directly impact AI infrastructure buildouts, particularly in hyperscale data centers that depend on advanced memory for large language model training and inference. The U.S. ITC is expected to set a target completion date within 45 days. That timeline signals urgency. Beyond potential import bans, this case could trigger licensing negotiations or broader patent enforcement actions. It also raises the geopolitical stakes for Korean chipmakers, potentially inviting policy-level responses from Seoul if trade restrictions escalate. Zooming out, this investigation lands at a moment when memory supply is already under strain from AI-driven demand. Legal uncertainty layered on top of tight supply chains could amplify volatility in both pricing and availability. For AI practitioners and infrastructure leaders, this is a reminder that model performance is only as resilient as the semiconductor ecosystem beneath it. Staying on the theme of memory and compute, South Korea's Ministry of Data and Statistics reported that industrial output rose 2.5% month on month in February 2026, the fastest increase since June 2020. The headline driver? A 28.2% surge in semiconductor production, pushing the Semiconductor Production Index to a record 215.4. Facility investment also climbed 13.5%, signaling that manufacturers are not just responding to current demand, but expanding capacity. This growth underscores how AI workloads are translating directly into macroeconomic indicators. When semiconductor output jumps nearly 30% in a single month, that reflects sustained demand for accelerators, memory modules, and supporting components. However, the boom is not without side effects. A separate industry report notes that memory shortages tied to AI infrastructure demand are depressing PC and smartphone sales. Shares of Micron, Western Digital, and SanDisk have fallen sharply amid pricing pressures and shifting demand dynamics. Complicating matters further, Google recently unveiled TurboQuant, claiming at least a six-fold reduction in key-value cache memory requirements for AI systems. While that could reduce infrastructure costs, TrendForce warns that efficiency gains may simply fuel longer context AI models, ultimately sustaining or even increasing total memory demand. Add to that emerging helium supply risks, which are critical for certain semiconductor manufacturing processes, and you have a market balancing on multiple constraints at once. So we have a paradox: record semiconductor output in South Korea, yet persistent structural tightness in advanced memory markets. For AI system architects, this reinforces the need to optimize memory footprints at the model and systems level, not just rely on upstream capacity expansion. Now let's shift to a major product release from Google Research. Today, the team announced TimesFM 2.5, the latest update to its time series foundation model. This version reduces the parameter count from 500 million down to 200 million, while expanding context length to 16,000. That combination is significant. A smaller 200 million parameter model means more efficient inference and lower deployment costs. Meanwhile, a 16K context window allows the model to capture long-range temporal dependencies, which are essential for forecasting in domains like energy grids, financial markets, supply chains, and climate modeling. TimesFM 2.5 also introduces an optional 30 million parameter continuous quantile head, enabling up to 1,000-step forecasting with quantile outputs. For practitioners, quantile forecasting is not a luxury feature. It's critical for risk-aware decision-making, allowing teams to estimate uncertainty bands rather than rely on point predictions. Google Research has made checkpoints available on Hugging Face and provided BigQuery integration, signaling a strong push toward practical deployment. The update also restores covariate or XReg support and includes refreshed inference APIs. This is not just a research artifact, it is clearly engineered for production workflows. The broader takeaway is that foundation model thinking is extending well beyond language and vision. Time series forecasting is now getting the same pre-training and scaling treatment, but with careful attention to parameter efficiency. In an environment where memory and compute are under pressure, a 200 million parameter forecasting foundation model with long context and quantile support is a strategically timed release. Our final top story is institutional rather than technical, but no less consequential. The World Data Organization, or WDO, officially launched in Beijing on March 31, 2026. It positions itself as the first international professional body focused specifically on global data development and governance. Headquartered in Beijing, the WDO outlines a threefold mission: bridging the global data divide, unlocking data's value, and powering the digital economy. Its goals include supporting cross-border data flows, building governance capacity in the global south, and contributing to multilateral rulemaking. In an era where data localization laws, AI regulation, and digital sovereignty debates are intensifying, the formation of the World Data Organization signals an effort to shape global standards from a new institutional center of gravity. For multinational AI companies and research institutions, evolving data governance frameworks will directly influence model training, cross-border collaboration, and compliance architectures. Now, for a few other key updates in our lightning round. Nebius has unveiled plans to build a 310 megawatt AI data center in Lappeenranta, Finland, with initial customer supply expected by 2027. The company describes it as one of Europe's largest AI compute sites. As European demand for sovereign and regionally hosted AI infrastructure grows, this 310 megawatt facility represents a substantial addition to the continent's training and inference capacity. In security research, a team at Caliph demonstrated that Claude AI uncovered zero-day remote code execution vulnerabilities in both Vim and Emacs. The researchers showed that simply opening a malicious file could enable arbitrary code execution. For developers, this underscores two realities. First, large language models like Claude are becoming powerful tools for automated vulnerability discovery. And second, widely used developer tools remain part of the attack surface. Immediate patching and plug-in audits are essential. An analysis published today also highlighted the scaling limits facing modern supercomputers such as El Capitan and Frontier. The piece identifies four core constraints: workload scaling, data movement, power consumption, and reliability. Engineers are responding by redesigning algorithms for better parallelizability, prioritizing memory locality, and implementing checkpointing strategies to mitigate hardware failures and reduce wasted compute cycles. As AI workloads push systems to their limits, these classical high-performance computing concerns are becoming central again. Finally, at the World Economic Forum in Davos earlier this year, Elon Musk stated that AI will surpass human intelligence by the end of 2026, effectively predicting the arrival of artificial general intelligence within the year. Given Musk's role in xAI and his long-standing warnings about existential risk, the statement adds urgency to ongoing governance and safety discussions. Whether or not that timeline proves accurate, the policy and preparedness implications are already reverberating across governments and enterprises. Taken together, today's developments highlight a tightly coupled system. Legal battles over 3D stacked memory at the USITC, record semiconductor output in South Korea, efficiency pushes like Google Research's TimesFM 2.5 and TurboQuant, massive infrastructure bets from Nebius, and new global governance efforts through the World Data Organization. AI progress is no longer just about bigger models. It is about memory architectures, energy budgets, supply chains, standards bodies, and security tooling. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.